Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is going to be a quick video on the ranking of the Eagles draft. I'm kind of in between what the national media says to what our local media says. If you look at a lot of the grade differentials and you just look up the Eagles, we tend to be in between. Some people gave us as low as a C, but we tend to mainly be in between a B minus all the way up to a couple people gave an A minus. So we tend to be in between those two polars, and then a couple people gave a C just because of they said how certain guys are not really rotational guys at this point; they're development guys, and some of these people kind of look at it more from you should get guys that step in right away. But I look at it from I think it was John Marks from 94.1 that said for Sharif Miller, the dude from Penn State, one of the two dudes from Penn State, he's a good defensive player. The thing with him is he still needs to develop. He needs to get a little bit better at doing certain things. But don't you expect that from a guy you pick in the fourth round? The main reason you brought him in at the defensive line is because of what they were saying on 94.1, which is competition. It's always good to have competition on the defensive line. And on top of that, it's always good to have guys that are going to become good players for you. He's a hometown guy that's going to very much motivate him. He's very happy to be here. That's a great motivation. And also, he's just a pretty solid player from watching Penn State football. From being a fan of the team, he's a very solid player. Now, since I started with Penn State, we'll jump to the other guy, Miles Saunders. Miles Saunders is a very quick back. If you give him a hole, he can find it. What he has to get a little bit better at is probably picking up blitzes compared to the NCAA, to the NFL, but that's most guys. A lot of people think he's a very good running back. Many people have tweeted about him not being supposed to be picked that high, where others have tweeted about how they think it was good he was picked that high because they really like how high he was ranked out of high school coming into college. Then he was behind Saquon and learned from one of the best, of course, as we saw from Saquon's rookie season, being behind him. So that's also very helpful for Miles Saunders. I do like how quick he is. I think if he can develop catching out of the backfield, which is something he wasn't great at Penn State, he would definitely be great in the NFL because if he can catch it out of the backfield, he's quick. He can be a guy you can dump it off to and he can just take off and pick up a good amount of yards for you. So that's covering the two Penn State guys, and then we'll save the top guys for last. So we'll go to Clayton Thornton. Many people have tweeted about this pick. One guy said, I think it was Greenberg, said how Philly's probably going to love this guy because he's a big, strong-arm kid. He's very smart in the QB room, so he's a guy that definitely has the football intelligence that's good to have in your quarterback room, which is why they like Nate Sudfeld, who I believe went to Iowa. I'm blanking on where he went, but that's why they like Nate Sudfeld. His football smart. And the big thing with Sudfeld that they said on the radio too, which is true, God forbid, but if Wentz goes down this year and Sudfeld does good, he's an unrestricted free agent, just like Foles was. So the likelihood is he'll go somewhere else, potentially, and get a job to either plug in to wait for someone on that team to develop, or if he does really well, he might get a chance with somebody, or he'll get paid that backup money. Because nowadays we have certain backup quarterbacks that get paid anywhere from 5 to 7, 8, even 9, some $10 million. So they got Thornton to be a guy that can be a backup for you, a good backup that can run when he has to. He's athletic. He doesn't have all the perks you would want, but he's not supposed to be a guy that's a starter for you. He's supposed to be a guy that it's a very solid backup when he develops and learns your system. So I don't mind that pick at all. I thought he was a pretty solid quarterback, strong arm. Many people had him ranked as the best senior quarterback at the start of the season and kept that rank at the end. And that's a good thing because, of course, all the other guys have been younger classmen for the most part. So he was ranked as the best senior among the other few that were available. Now, if we go to Arcega-Whiteside, I like him out of Stanford, big body guy. What I really like about him is I think the one guy I do disagree with some of Philly, mainly Missinelli and a couple other guys of 97.5. I think he could fit into a rotation first year in the sense of he's a big guy that can catch the football, has a good catch radius, can go up and get it. I think he fits in the red zone in year one, which is very helpful because that's why we got Mac Hollins, who we still like, to develop, and he's a good guy to put in the red zone, so then you don't have as much of an injury risk with D-Jack, who's been banged up in recent years, and also Aguilar, who's a smaller guy that you really would prefer not to get banged around in the red zone. So if Mack Hollins can stay healthy, like guys were saying in our radio, and I agree with them, he's a big guy that can catch in the red zone. You have Whiteside and you have Jeffrey, so you can use that combination of three in the red zone. And then, of course, Ertz is a beast there. Dallas Goedert's going to become a beast there. So it's all good things for the red zone. If you have Andre Dillard, of course, that's a guy that if all goes well and everything goes perfect, he's not going to really be much in the rotation this year. But that's why we picked him, because the likelihood of that happening is not high. So I agree with what Mike Missanelli said, that he rated it B- because a lot of these guys, if everything goes perfect, wouldn't be in our rotation. I think Saunders will be and Arcega-Whiteside will be, but Miller would be more of a guy that just plays a few snaps to get his feet wet. And then, of course, Thornson's a backup quarterback that you would hope doesn't have to come in, because that would likely mean for this year Sudfeld and Wentz would have to go down. But, so I agree with him from that standpoint. What I disagree with is Jason Peters' health, because Jason Peters has been unhealthy lately. He's a beast when he's on the field, but I think it's good to have a guy that's great at pass blocking, since we tend to pass a lot, and that's becoming more accustomed in the NFL to just really pass the ball. Even with certain teams that have good backs, they tend to pass, and when they run, they tend to like having a mix now, like we have now, with Howard, who can run through the tackles, and then a guy that's very quick, which we got in Miles Saunders, and already had a couple guys on our team. They just are also a health concern. Overall, I would give us a rating from a B to a B+, but with the talent and potential we have, I think this draft has a potential to jump to an A- to even an A, because if Saunders really starts balling out, Dillard steps in and plays very well this year, those two guys would just jump your grade up. And then Arcega-Whiteside, I think, will be good. So I think if it's a B, it's very close to a B+. So I put it as a B+, with the potential to rise depending on where these guys fit in this year and also in the next 2 to 3 years. So that's where I would rank it. This has been a video on the NFL draft for our Eagles. Have a great day, everyone. This is Sports Fanatic News. Peace out.